Olá, a TV Cidade está tendo a honra de entrevistar pela primeira vez, a primeira entrevista para repórteres no Brasil, esta lenda da locução do boxe mundial, Michael Buffer. É um prazer. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to interview you. Thank you so much to be here with us.
Oh, the pleasure is mine. I'm glad to be here in Brazil.
This is your first time here in Brazil?
Very first time, yes.
And what do you think about Brazil, the people, the country?
Americans always think of Brazil as being beautiful and exotic and beautiful women and great sports fans, and I think from what I've seen so far, all of that is true.
I represent everything here.
Great impression so far, that's great.
And what do you think about this big fight on Saturday?
It's a very good fight. The main event, the best fight of the night will be Felix Cora Jr. and Lino Barros, and for the WBO Continental America's Cruiserweight Championship, and I think it's going to be a great fight. And, Brazil, the whole world now knows that Brazil has the best sports fans in the world. We have the World Cup coming here, and the Olympics. And as a young man, of course, I remember the great Pelé and all the great famous football players that come from Brazil and the great teams. So I'm really excited to be here.
We know that our famous sport here is football. And what do you think the importance to bring the box back to Brazil?
It's good to have boxing in Brazil. Of course, the last great champion, of course, was Popo. Assalino, who I just saw a few nights ago in the United States. And it would be great to see another world champion step up and become the next boxing superstar from Brazil like Popo. That would be wonderful to see.
And what you can talk about the box encourage young people to this new sports for them, children is starting in the box and other sports?
It's a great sport for young people to get into because we have a lot of safety standards, and when they're young and they train, wearing headgear and the bigger gloves, and of course it's a great way to keep young people off the streets and get them focused and learn the sport.
And a curiosity, how do you prepare for this fight?
I'll have to learn to say a few things in Portuguese, senhoras e senhores, and bem-vindo, and so it's for me it's very exciting. I just got back 2 weeks ago. I was in Russia, 3 weeks ago in Montreal, Canada, and earlier this year, of course, I was in Argentina and many other countries around the world. So I know how to say ladies and gentlemen in so many different languages, and finally I get to say it in Portuguese.
Your brother, Bruce Buffer, were here in Brazil before, and have your brother spoken about Brazil for you before?
That's all I ever hear. I'm married, my brother is single, and all I ever hear is, oh, the women in Brazil, my God, they're so beautiful, and they're everywhere, and so if I was single, this could be a dangerous place for me to be, but luckily I'm married to a very beautiful woman, so I don't have that problem. But Bruce always talks about the food, the fans, and the beautiful women in Brazil.
Do you like to come back here one day?
Hopefully the boxing is successful on Channel 8, and we'll have more boxing events, and I hope they invite me back.
Can you talk about your career?
I was working as a model, and then doing some parts on television with the commercials, and I lived in Philadelphia in America. And Atlantic City started having casinos, and with casinos they brought the boxing to entertain all the guests at the casinos. And I thought, well, this would be a great chance for me as a fan to see the fights and maybe get my foot in the door and be an announcer. So just for fun, and the next thing I knew, it took off. That was 32 years ago.
And do you have some dream in your life?
Some dreams?
Yes.
Well, I dream of retiring soon because I've been working so long and doing this full time, and I'm starting to get a little bit older now, and so that right now my dream is I have 5 dogs, a beautiful wife, and a big house, and I just want to sit back and relax. But meanwhile, it's so much fun to get to travel and visit places like Brazil. And so my dream will be see a few more places and then take it easy.
Nice. And do you like football?
Oh, I love football. Football, football in America we call it soccer, of course. But I've gotten to appreciate it because I work so much in Europe. And football in Europe, football in South America is just huge. It's the biggest sport in the world.
And do you support some team?
I probably would have to spend some time in a city that really has the atmosphere. Now, I know there's four great teams here in Sao Paulo, right? 4 teams that are really famous. And perhaps if I stayed here for 6 months or something, I would have to pick one of the teams to be my favorite. But for right now, I don't have a favorite.
Lino Barros is fighting for Corinthians. Corinthians
really?
team. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, very good.
But do you appreciate another team on Barcelona or some players, Ronaldo, Pelé?
Of course, everybody's heard about Ronaldo, and David Beckham is world famous too. And I've worked in the United Kingdom in Manchester, where of course David Beckham became famous with Manchester United, which is a very famous team in England and in Europe. But I think when people think about football and they think about it really and truly international, there's always that team from Brazil that everybody that follows football around the world knows about and always is afraid of. They're the team to beat.
Back into box. Do you have a favorite fight that you have seen?
There's so many after 32 years. The night that George Foreman became heavyweight champion again at the age of 44 was very exciting. Bernard Hopkins again became champion at 48 years old, which is unbelievable in boxing. And I always appreciate that when the older fighters are able to do that, because it shows that they've maintained, they've been disciplined and focused and stay in shape. Because once a fighter gets past 34, 35, 36, it's a very difficult sport. And to see fighters in their 40s become world champions is very, very exciting.
And do you have a favorite fighter?
I guess my favorite fighter when I was a boy is still my favorite. And there's 2. When I was really a little boy would be Sugar Ray Robinson, and then the great Muhammad Ali when I was a young man, a teenager. I remember watching him in the Olympics in Rome in 1960, and then as the 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
And do you know about these fighters, Lino Barros and Felix Cora? Do you need to study about the fighters for answer the fight?
Yeah, I'm going to have to learn more about them. I've heard of Cora Jr. His name has been around in the cruiserweight division, and since I got here, Felipe Palacio has told me a lot about Lino Barros. So I'll be looking forward to seeing this fight. I heard it's going to be a very, very good fight.
Would you like to learn some words in Portuguese?
Would I like to?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Which one?
Well, I want to learn how to say, so the fans, ladies and gentlemen, I believe.
Senhoras e senhores.
Senhoras e senhores.
Which one?
Bem-vindo.
Bem-vindo.
Oh, bem-vindo. See, I'm learning already.
Yes. And send a message for people who is watching you.
I want everybody to be sure and watch the fights on Saturday night on Channel 8, correct?
Yeah.
A big night of boxing on Channel 8. Be there.
And now a message for your fans. You have many fans in the world.
Oh, you make my heart beat faster. I'm glad to hear that. For my fans, I hope you're glad to see me here. For me, it's a pleasure and an honor. And I know we're going to have a great night of boxing.
Ladies and gentlemen, senhoras e senhores, Michael Buffer exclusivo para a TV Cidade.